Hello and welcome to Cinemondo with Kathy, Melanie, and Amit. Pardesi Reviews,
Hello.
D54. We're at it
Hello.
again, talking about Lucia today. Now, this was
Everyone.
a Kannada film, which,
Yeah, I watched it first time years ago, and it definitely was my first Kannada film, and
wow.
it's
Wow.
so wild. I mean, it is so different. Yeah,
My
Yeah.
first Kannada film was KGF. So
a
very
little
different.
Oh,
right?
wow.
A little
Very
different,
different. I know.
right?
I have no idea what my first Kannada film was. Would have been something old. Would have been something
Yeah.
old when I was funny enough. I have a funny story with this movie. Was I think I was in Mysore, India while watching this. I think it was on TV, and I watched the first half and I fell asleep. Because it was late at night, not because it's boring. It was
That's
just like
appropriate for
I
this
just
film.
have to
That you
sleep.
should fall asleep.
Yeah. Then I woke up and I never got around to watching it again.
Oh,
I was like, okay, cool. I've seen half of this movie, and then when you guys sort of mentioned you're watching it, I'm like, okay, cool. I started watching it. I'm like, yeah, I've seen bits of this, but I don't remember
oh,
I don't remember the ending.
or did
I'm
I
happy I don't
dream
remember
it?
the ending.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We're making fun of this because it's basically about a drug that helps you sleep, technically.
yeah.
People can't sleep and they want like
Kind of.
lucid dreaming kind of is what they're, and they look so shady. Like he goes in there to get it. I would not take any drugs from these people. It was not a good idea. Did not sound legit. It was like
I mean,
okay, but he was
he was
desperate.
desperate.
He
Yeah,
was desperate. So he
he
said
needed it.
anything. I just want to sleep. So I thought
Correct.
that was kind of cool. He was a very likable character.
Yeah,
Definitely
I
was.
mean, I remember, I think I reviewed this when I didn't even have a channel, that I just had a blog. And I remember people suggesting it to me as like, you have to see this film, you have to see this film. And it was, I think, kind of a sensation. It was crowdsourced. The
I love that.
director who wrote the film shopped around, tried to get traditional film financing with producers, and he had zero luck. And I guess he wrote like this blog post entitled "Making Enemies" that like went viral. And so he crowdfunded, but I actually looked up the Wikipedia. Do you know what the budget? See if you can guess what the budget was for this film. $63,000 was the
Wow.
entire budget for this film.
Oh my. Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Insane.
So when you think of
That's
what they
crazy.
accomplished with
Yes.
so little money,
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's not like there's really special effects. What's the special effects? Half the film is in monochrome, is
Black and
black and
white.
white.
Yep. Yep.
Right?
Yeah, that's the trick. Yeah, that's the trick. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
That's
I mean,
it.
it works well.
Yeah, it does.
It
It worked-
totally,
it worked well.
totally
Yeah.
works well. And so the beginning opening credits of the film kind of list, and they show pictures of like all the people who had contributed
love that.
money
Yeah, that was
to
cool.
the crowdsource,
That
to
was
this
amazing.
film. So it definitely made money because the satellite rights were sold for double that, for $120,000, and then it made
Oh.
Yep.
$380,000 in ticket sales.
Well, he
I
made
mean,
some money.
it's
Well,
like, I mean, still
Yep.
for this
And now
tiny
it's gone
little
on.
film,
It's
that's
gone on to
really,
become a cult classic now as well. So it's become
yes,
like
I mean,
adored
it's
and liked. So it's
definitely,
continued.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a classic. And the Tamil actor Siddharth immediately he was blown away by it, and so it was remade in Tamil with him in the starring role.
Oh
That
wow.
one is called Anakal Oravan. And I don't remember, there were differences to the original film.
Okay.
I had a different director, but what I really remember is that the space between the star's life and like the surroundings of the movie star and the other were even more, even a wider difference, right? Because it was a Tamil film. They had more budget to much more lush apartment
Upscale.
and cars and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So, this one was just relying on this one guy, Sathish Ninasam's performance to really his face showing you, it's not like his clothes and whatever were so extreme, right? Or his car or anything, right? It was basically his performance that was showing you, are we Nikki or are we Nikhil? Like,
and
which
glasses. He had sunglasses all the time where he looked really cool. He ended up looking more confident and cool in the
correct
the dream one.
Yeah.
I guess what you find out. Yeah, it's interesting because I was looking a little bit into the director Pawan Kumar. And I was wondering because how did he actually, was this his debut movie, something like that? Was he not in the industry? But it looks like he was actually in the industry. So he did a few movies as an
Oh.
actor before this. He's an
Okay.
actor, director, writer, sort of a everything kind of man. Because this movie also has surprisingly Rishabh Shetty, if you guys noticed, the
Yeah.
superstar from Kantara as just
Yeah.
a cop, as like a
That
side
was funny.
character.
That was very cool.
And it also has Achyut Kumar, who's also in the industry for quite a long time. So he's got some recognizable faces. So how did he get all these people to just sign on board to his movies? So he was in the
Just a
industry.
good script.
Yeah.
I mean, would they
It's
do
strange. I
that,
think
or is it more connections?
it's a good-
Because the
I
script
think it
would have
must be
been very
connections.
interesting.
Because the
Yeah.
script was rejected, right? It sounds like no,
Well, yeah, I mean,
it wasn't financed by anybody. It was
Yeah.
too bold, I guess, or too different. But
That's
man,
true.
did it pay off? Like it's added to sort of flair of the movie. It looks like a completely different independent kind of movie compared to really any other cinema, to be honest. It's really different. But yeah, the main actor Sathish was absolutely. I thought it was fantastic. Like
So
as you were
good.
saying, all on his demeanor, his
Yeah.
his facial expressions, and when he's down and out, he really looks down and out, and to see the transformation go over time, how even in his dream he starts going downwards. Also, the actress was also pretty great. I've not seen her too much, but
Yeah.
playing basically a villain half the time
I know.
in sort of one life.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was great.
That was
Yeah.
really cool.
I mean, I love all the layers to it, and like you say, like the ending really takes you by surprise. I mean, this movie's been out for 10 years, so if it wasn't clear, we're going to talk spoilers. But because there's this one scene where I don't know, they're both kind of dreaming, and one character walks into the black, and the character in the color, the more down and out, takes the pill bottle and gives it into the black and white, like puts it on the counter. So they kind of like change places for a moment. And you're like, what is even happening?
That was very cool.
It was very trippy. And again, I mean, just for simple effects, right? Like it wasn't, fancy CGI or anything, but just really effective filmmaking of just kind of like my mind is being blown by everything that is happening in this movie. And then to find out which character is in the coma, why he's in the coma that we saw from the beginning, which dream life he wishes he was in. Like it really blows your mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a virtual reality almost kind of film. And they put it in the construct of you take a pill while you're asleep. What if dreams were real kind of idea? Like you get to dream another life and get to be that. And I love the idea because eventually with any virtual reality, you have to pick. So like, would you rather just stay in your dream life? How do you stay in your dream life? You want to stay in there. You can't just keep taking the drugs. So it's him trying to figure out ways he can stay longer and longer in that virtual reality because he liked it better, and I thought that was I like that it kind of posits to you, like, which one would you pick? Like, is even if your normal life, like he was basically, and I love anything has to do with movies. So I love that he was like, they call him a torch shiner at the movie theater. I just love that idea of the guy who's in the booth, shining, putting the movie on. I just think there's something really, cinema paradiso about it.
Yeah.
So I like that. So he was likable in both, but in one, he's definitely, there's more going on, more like cinematic, bad guys. But I love that idea. That to me was the best part, is that which life do you want and which can you get, and can you get it? And then bring people into it. That was very, 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 very interesting how they accomplished that.
No, and the whole way that, I mean, the twist at the end really leaves you kind of baffled because it adds another layer to it, I think. As you're saying, like this has got a lot of layers to it as it is. Like, I mean, they have the romance, which is kind of the structure behind the movie, because that's what mainly the movie is about. But I mean, the thing that one of the other side stories that really got me was the relationship between Nikhil and the main father figure, Kumar. And some of those scenes at the end when he's like, because we think that he's in the dream, and because I was watching, it was like the dream is real life and the real life is dream. So I think that he's actually died in real life. And I was like, oh my God, and he's in the dream and he has to say goodbye to him in the dream as well because he's not alive anymore. And that part just hit like right there. I was like, oh man, this is hard to watch. This is really sad. And also the whole thing with him discovering himself. It's strange because when you watch it on a second time, I love to watch this movie again, having this fresh lens, seeing it in a different way and just like, okay, now I know that this is all a dream and this is real. The stuff that they've put in there must be other sort of stuff that I've missed, which they put in subtly.
See, now I want to watch it again because some of the stuff you're saying is like, oh yeah, I need to reappreciate that scene, And I like the little tiny bits of like insight into being a famous person, the kind of like the sort of yin and yang of it. Like, you know, he likes being famous, but the attention and the scrutiny is he doesn't really want it anymore. And that whole thing about how fame is so brutal for people. I like that, because you think, oh,
Yeah,
the good life, and then,
Completely.
oh, maybe it's not so great.
Well, and it's like he has a crush on this girl. He's
Yeah.
able to find her.
Mhm.
His manager friend is bit like, yeah, you're doing an item song and look who it is. You know, found her. But then it's like he can't just have a pure relationship with her, because
Yeah.
she wants something from him. She
Yeah.
wants him to get her ahead in the business. And he's
Yeah.
like, no, you don't want to be in the business. You know, a little bit of controlling, like, no, I want
Yeah.
you in this box, so you're just my
Yeah.
girlfriend. You don't have your own life. You're just my girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah,
You
we're a
don't know
little-
what I know, you know.
Yeah, well, we're a little
And then
down
the
in the
best thing
we're a
is-
little down in the keel, but I mean, it just
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, it's just like the double-sided of it, right? Like, you can't just necessarily have pure relationships with people. There's always what do they want from me?
Yeah.
What
And I
do
love
they
that how, because like as the two stories are going on at the same time, I was observing it's like they're happening in parallel. So like
Yeah.
if he's controlling her in the real world, then she's controlling him in his
Right.
dreams or respect. And I love that sort of, they kept playing with that. It's like whenever he's up in one world, he's down on the other. But we would assume to be like that. And they just kept doing such a great job of showing that, like back and forth. Like, okay,
Yeah.
you know, because in the, I guess in the dream, he's actually being controlled by the woman, I guess, or his love interest, who's like telling him, no, you need to learn English, you have to get a high paying job, I'm not going to accept you. So he's actually wants to struggle. He wants to be there because he's not experienced it before, because which we all take for granted, like, you know, we just want the best thing, but then the journey is what's more important all the time.
Yeah.
So it's just so many layers to it. I thought it was just, it did a fantastic job of layering this into the movie. Well, it was also just super entertaining as well. Like, if you just take away all that stuff, like just seeing the, you know, progression and just having these two stories play in parallel so seamlessly and effortlessly, it was fantastic. You know, I never felt like there were two different stories. It felt like there were one story coming together in this world. So yeah, this big, huge fan.
Right. I mean, the director has created this artificial construct of this, you know, of this pill that you take to enter another world. But I mean, we've seen this kind of thing in other movies. In fact, I was reading the Wikipedia, like, you can imagine that this director was influenced by Memento. And in fact, like, I didn't recognize it, but I guess in one scene, there's a Christopher Nolan movie playing in the background. You know,
I wondered what that movie was. I saw it.
I think
like,
it's called Following, which I'm not familiar with that, but I mean, you know, you could see how this director was influenced by other kind of which world is real, which world is illusion, right? I mean, this is before Inception came out, at least I think so, but you know what I mean? But it's the same kind of, you know, we as the audience are not sure until the very end, like, which is, we assume we know what's real, but we don't really know what's real.
Yeah, and that was a nice trick. And I also, do you remember Altered States?
Oh,
it kind of reminded me a little bit of that, where he kept trying, he almost got addicted, which is kind of what happened here. Addicted to the dream life, addicted to the alternate reality he had when he was in that sleep tank. I love that, because you see the sort of abuse that could happen. Like, and they sort of are approaching it in this movie too, of like, you keep pursuing the life that isn't real, and then the rest of your life is kind of falling apart because you're only investing all your energy. And then he's having to try and get more and more of those pills. It was very, very cool. It had a lot to say. Very complicated movie that they pulled it off, and very easy to understand. I think the black and white really helped. It seemed a little contrived at first, but made it very clear which one you were in. And I really, that was like, after it started going, I'm like, oh God, thank God I know which one is which, you know?
Yeah, and then when it twists, when it switches again, it's like such a big impact, because you're like, oh, wait a second, now he's in color. Wait, so now that wasn't a dream.
I know, it was so good.
And that was a great sort of switch. But yeah. I also had I don't know, there was a lot of music in this movie, which surprised me. You know, I think that's one part that caught me a bit surprised, but I didn't mind it too much. I felt like sometimes, maybe if I had any criticisms, the length could have been tightened by a little bit from that music, because I did feel in the middle. I was watching it, I was like, I paused it a second. I was like, an hour left. And I'm like, an hour left. How are they going to do an hour more in this movie?
Yeah, like, what more is there to say?
But it's actually fine, because they went on the whole journey after that. And I was like, okay, cool. I understand.
Well,
you know?
I feel that that's sort of a shorthand to the movie life is, okay, we're going to do a big number. Right?
Yeah. True. Yeah.
Very
Right?
true.
I mean, especially when you're talking about Indian cinema. I mean, it would be maybe it would be a big action scene or something if you were trying to
Mm.
show that someone was a big Hollywood star.
Yeah.
But here, the way to
Had
show
a few of
someone's
those,
a
yeah.
star is everyone is groveling at their feet, and are you ready to do this big item number? Right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Great.
And he just had
There's-
he
there's-
just adopted this kind of attitude, this confidence he didn't have in the other life. Like he stood up straighter, he looked cooler, he had the haircut was kind of cool, and it was subtle, but they really pulled it off. Not even just the sunglasses, but his whole demeanor. He just felt like a famous person. I don't know how people do that.
I know he
I
just
mean-
I mean, that's the talent of this actor is that even if it was in the black and white, you would almost immediately know
Correct.
which character he was
Yeah.
from the way he was
Exactly
acting.
right. There's
So,
one
yeah.
hilarious scene and I remember from this which cracked me up pretty much. I think he's having a fight scene in the dream world, I guess, in the black and white world, with one of the stuntmen or something like that, who wants to be an up and coming actor, and he says like, "Can you get me a chair?" And he gets a chair and he puts his feet on it.
that was funny. You think he's about to let him
It's
sit down?
cracking up. Yeah.
That was really good.
It sort of
The
goes to that
typical
sort of,
arrogance, you know.
yeah. You know, he's got this
That
the
was so
superstar
good.
arrogance and stuff like that, and he's trying
Oh
to tell
my
this
God.
guy who he is. So yeah, I just thought that I had some good comedy in this as well. It's cracking me up a few times. So yeah, this
Very
again, to ask an actor to go through all of this, including the comedy that he did and the
Mhm.
dance numbers and all that, and a few small budget action scenes, but he's asked to do a lot, I think, for a
Yeah.
budget like this. I can't imagine he
Mhm.
would have paid too much considering the budget was so less.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so good on them for just getting together and putting this together, because this is a movie that really, I think, launched the director's career.
Right.
Like it's
Well,
probably
I
to
mean,
date
also
probably the biggest
just
movie.
to me, it's amazing. I mean, we're all loving this film,
Yeah.
but the fact that audiences reacted to this so positively
Yeah.
and people still talk about it today, I think
Mhm.
it kind of, set off kind of a new wave. I don't know if they call it that in Kannada cinema, but the fact that audiences really loved it and it became such a cult classic, I think is awesome.
Yeah.
It's because, I mean, we can often see an independent kind of a film and say, wow, that was really great, but it never found its audience, right?
Mhm.
Like, it's just like
Yeah.
this little niche thing. And this
Yeah.
is definitely, if you ask somebody, what should I watch in Kannada cinema? Like, this is one of the first
recommend this
films
one.
Yeah, we
that is
still-
mentioned.
Still get
this-
requests for this. It'll
Correct.
pop up. People still recommending it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's
Definitely.
one that's really universally admired and loved and recommended, which I think is awesome. It's really
Yeah, I
awesome.
do
The
too.
thing is, it's still pretty unique. I've not seen any movie really like this, because I mean, even in Indian cinema, especially, like they haven't even delved into the world of psychedelics or drugs
No.
all that much. To be honest, like it's a very unfamiliar thing to see. Like in Hollywood, there are two kind of like drug movies that I'm familiar with, and one is like the stoner comedies, which I'm not the biggest fan of those. Yeah, I don't find them very
Pineapple
funny, but
Express and the like. Yeah.
yeah. Some of those
Big
ones,
Lebowski
and
was
you
pretty
have
good.
yeah. Every now and then you get a pretty decent one, but a lot of them don't work out. But the other
No,
ones are
no.
like the really hardcore psychedelic ones, like
Mhm.
the one with Johnny Depp, like Fear and
Yeah.
Loathing in Las Vegas. If you guys
Yeah.
have seen
Yeah.
that one,
Yeah.
it's just a complete trip.
Yeah.
Basically. So I haven't seen any Indian cinema anywhere actually delve into psychedelics and taking you on a trip like this movie does.
That's true.
Even till date. Is this 2013? I've not seen a movie even. I mean, maybe the remake that you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
The Tamil one, but that's based on this, so I can't give
Right.
that one 100%
It
credit.
does make me want
But
to
yeah,
see
it's
that one.
surprising. I've not seen anything from any cinema, to be honest, even going to this world. Would love to know if there are other movies like this in the audience. Let us know, because I'd
Yeah.
be keen to check
Exactly.
out some more kind of this
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean, it's a genre film. It was kind of a alternate reality, almost kind of on the verge of sci-fi. That sort of,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
so it's very unique, and we
I
have
mean,
some posters.
it's interesting because if you look up lists of horror films in Indian cinema, this is listed under horror, which
Yeah.
like it's not in Hollywood. I wouldn't necessarily consider it horror. So
Soft
I
horror.
mean,
Yeah.
Maybe it's,
I mean,
maybe it's horrific for. It's probably horrific for an actor. Maybe
Yeah.
that's kind of like it's telling you the story that they go through, maybe in that way. But
Yeah, true.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. But anyway, it's just interesting. There are so few Indian horror films, really, that, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not a huge genre that I mean, it's just an excellent film. It's nice that it's listed for anything, but
I know.
I just, it's like when you watch it, you're like, okay, maybe there's some creepy vibes here or there, or
Yeah.
like you say, little alternate reality, what's real, what isn't, but it's not, it's not like we have Dracula or zombies or something.
No.
Fitting into the Black Mirror very easily. That's that sort of
true.
abuse of the fame, the line between fame and real, because so much about fame is about portraying characters that aren't real. So there's this sort of reality versus fantasy versus so it definitely has that sort of genre vibe. But yeah, it's not hardcore hearts.
No.
So we'll take a look at
psychological.
Psychological horror.
Yeah, exactly. So the poster is very art house. Doesn't look too scary. You would never. I mean, it's really pretty. I like that they brought the movie theater part into it, even though that's not. I like produced by audience. I love that. That's a big deal. It's a very big deal.
It is a very big deal.
So I think that's
it's a beautiful shot, but it also sets the tone of the movie to be a little bit darker as well, right? Like there is a dark overtone to this movie, and I think that's what this poster kind of conveys as well.
Right, and then the doorway behind him is just into the sky, so it's kind of got that real surreal quality to it.
Yep.
And I love the main poster is great. I mean, this is a very cool montage. Same birds. I don't know why. But I like getting a flashlight because he's a torch shiner, and you see all the characters in there and the sunglasses, the two protagonists, and they have the little movies. There's a lot of little clues in here. A little movie reel. Very
this is
nice.
definitely more. This is definitely more psychedelic, like,
right. This is the iconic poster that I remember.
Yeah.
But this is definitely the trippy one.
Yeah. And then there's a couple little this is the kind of more like relationship looking, like the more drama. Has a little bit of the has the movie reel and has looks like they're it's a black and white in color. A little bit of that reveal, and then you have.
Oops, wrong
one. Oh, no, that's it. Not that one.
Another Kannada film.
We have this guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but really, I really was kind of blown away by this movie. I would definitely want to watch it again. It's one that another one that's I would refer people to this movie because it's so unique and it's so accessible and that cool kind of, like you said, the kind of drug haze, alternate reality thing that people like to see just to kind of blow their minds a little bit. So I really like that.
A little bit. I'm surprised that because the director Pawan Kumar, I was talking to you guys a little bit before about the director and how he has done another movie called U-Turn, which I've not seen, but that's meant to be more of a
I've seen
horror, right? Is it horror?
It's meant to be more horror.
It's thriller. I would call it thriller. I would call it thriller.
Right. But I mean,
that one was quite good. That one was quite good, and that one was also remade into Tamil as well.
Yeah, so that one stars Samantha Ruth Prabhu. So that's a big name.
Yeah, Samantha's in the remake, but I think the original one was and the actress is now much more famous, but it was one of her earlier reels. I'm blanking on her name, and all our commenters will tell us. But but anyway.
And then Amit, about his most recent film.
So that's the one I recently saw in cinema. And cinema actually is one of the my first or second Malayalam movies that I saw, kind of Malayalam movies, because he released a movie called Doomum, which had got a lot of people really excited about. It's basically about smoking and the dangers of it, but it felt like it's almost like a 2-hour ad, to be honest. Telling you don't smoke. But yeah, it was really surprising because if you were to watch that movie, you would not think it was the same director.
Wow.
Because it plays it so safe. That was one of the main criticisms with that movie. It was very sort of stereotypical. I wouldn't say it was the worst movie. It got a lot of backlash, probably a bit unfair backlash, because I think this is one of the things with pan India that they're going to struggle with is trying to make a movie that is suitable for both audiences. You would think that because when I was watching this, Pawan Kumar, I'm a pretty big fan of his because, as you could tell, his movie making style has a lot of references to Malayalam cinema in that it looks like independent, low budget. That's Malayalam's wheelhouse. They sort of do a lot of that stuff as well. Good writing, good concepts. So you would think it would work out really well, but this movie was apparently it was in the works for a long time. Stars Fahad Fasil and a few other sort of Malayalam actors, and also Achyut Kumar, who's in this movie as well. So he was in the movie as well. So they tried to blend these two industries together. Unfortunately, it just did not hit the mark. So I think this is probably one that's unfortunate. I hope it's Pawan Kumar's, because I think he got pretty bad about it because he put out a video addressing the backlash from this movie, and he was talking to the audience saying hey guys, look, this is what's happened, and the comment section was just the Kannada audience sticking up for him, the Malayalam audience sometimes not being a fan of his writing and stuff like that for this one. But if they were to see this kind of movie, you would think this would fit right into their world. So I'm hoping for good things from Pawan Kumar. I'm really a big fan of his direction after watching this movie, especially Lucia.
Yeah.
So So really interested to see what he is in the works next, because he always has a great mind for creativity and doing stuff that's out of the box.
Yeah. Do
So
we
I
know what
looked.
he's working on?
I looked up U-Turn. The actress was Shraddha Srinath, and that was only her
Oh.
second film. And I think
Mm.
she was a lead actress. Then she went on, to do. She's been in all different languages. Like she did Jersey with Nani and Telugu. She's done a lot of big films since that. But that was really her, as far as I know, like her star-making film was U-Turn. The Kannada version was. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, I'd be interested, just be on the base of this and the writing of this. I would be interested in seeing. I remember immediately going and watching U-Turn after Lucia, because this director, I was like, what else has this guy done?
Yeah.
So I kind of had, like, because that's years ago, it had fallen off my radar, but now I would be interested again to see what other projects he's got coming next.
Yeah, and it's interesting too that Dooman was the only movie he didn't produce of the ones we've talked about.
And
that can
that's a big thing,
sometimes
'cause
take a bite out of it, because he may
produced
have more input.
by Humble Films, like the huge guys that produce like Kantara,
Yeah.
so it was a big deal. It was a big budget movie. People
sometimes the big budget can be
it was just like,
inhibiting.
But then it's more of a committee,
Yeah.
and
Too many people involved. Yeah. Sometimes that can happen. Yeah, it makes sense. So, but highly recommend this movie, and if you're a genre fan, you'll definitely like it. And and hopefully you've seen it, because we ruined the whole thing.
It's been out for 10 years. I think we're allowed. Kathy.
It's the journey. Whatever it is.
Exactly.
We didn't too much give away the ending, really.
No,
just
exactly.
a little bit. So definitely
We
worth seeing
hinted,
this just to experience it, because even if you know what's happening, like I already know what happened, and I want to watch it again now that I've seen it, to just see it play out the way, knowing that.
There's a lot of ways to it.
Yeah.
And Kathy, how much we can't spoil one thing. How much did you chuckle about Papa John's being prominent in this film?
What was that about?
And it being a sit-down restaurant where people come and take your order at a table. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's a real thing. I've been to been to one of those when I was in Mysore. It's like that. You actually go and sit down. It's a big chain, and
all right,
it's
like a full formal restaurant. Papa John's is not that way in the U.S.
No, it's
strictly pizza delivery.
There's no end restaurant part here. That's why it was so funny.
No, sit down, and it's like that for all of them. I think Pizza Hut, Domino's, yeah, Papa John's. They're actually formal restaurants. You sit down and they have. It's pretty good pizza. I gotta say, it's not bad at all.
Pizza's always good. No, even bad pizza's good. It's just hard to ruin pizza. All right, you guys, let us know your favorite pizza in the comments below, and then be sure and where did our little logos go? And be sure and follow and subscribe to Melanie at Per Daisy Reviews, Amit at D54, and me at Cinemondo. Like, subscribe, comment. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh yeah, I just realized.
There we're back.
if I turn on the movie posters, it's an overlay, so it turns off the logos. So I have to turn that overlay back.
Yeah, I thought that maybe this
we're doing posters at the end. I think it's fine. People know.
No, it's fine. They know who we are by then.
Yeah, I think probably just the first little bit, then after that they disappear. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
I know. It's just a little extra. We're just trying.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,